Lower Raritan is doing a potluck and breadboard, custom breadboard event at the Bergen Hotel on December 9th. Come in and custom make, you can design a breadboard that they'll make for you. It's going to be on the website, but, and, you know, for an economic development thing.
Over the top, so it's just a little
arm wrestling movie?
Yeah.
It's amazing. You should watch it.
I'm sorry? Yeah, no, I'm just thanking them, and Rebecca gave Harry a whole. Oh, okay, good.
He's in some new thing.
Yeah. Two things.
And two things. There's a superhero one.
Absolutely.
And then there's the one
Yeah,
where
because this Friday's the last one.
King of Tulsa. Well,
I think that's
crime thing on Paramount Plus.
That's a great
Matt.
show.
Is it this Friday or next Friday the last one?
Tulsa King?
Yeah, that's what Tulsa King. That's on Amazon. Paramount. Yeah.
Is the last one this one or next? Do we have Farmers Market?
Yeah, they're going to the winner.
Pardon?
They're going to the winner. They're not. They're going to
keep going.
They're going to have a winter farmer market underneath the pavilion.
Never,
The full farmer market is going to end.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, next week.
I think it's the week after, actually. It's not the next week.
No,
the
it was.
6th.
There's everywhere else.
No.
It's a good,
The
it's
fourth.
good to.
Okay.
I think it's the week after.
Okay.
But they're never going to end. They're just going to keep going.
Are we doing on time? 5 more minutes. We're missing, Elsie's on vacation. Stephanie and Tara.
What's else?
Oh, that's Elsie.
See,
That's
Where's your nameplate?
It's 1, 2, 3.
Well, this is Tara's.
Forum, which
Oh,
can't,
that's Stephanie.
because you can make a forum, but you can't vote on it.
I know.
Yeah, that's Elsie.
Short meeting.
Three and the mayor. Yeah, you can do it.
Jared just texted me.
Mayor can make a
Who?
form.
I just got a text.
Okay.
So we need staff.
And Elsie's out.
And Elsie's out. We need Stephanie.
I didn't hear it.
She'll be here.
Even if Stephanie doesn't come.
we have 4.
Well,
Well, we,
no, we have 3. We have 4 for a quorum, but only 3 for votes.
all right.
But we don't get to a vote for a while because we got council reports and all
Right.
I think Stephanie was.
that. Yeah, Stephanie will be here.
and, no.
Right.
Hello.
And then when it's time, use the mic over there.
You quieted everybody. Usually it's only me you make shut up.
Or you can take it off.
Use the space now that we're back in person.
Show us what you got.
Terry, can you text Stephanie, just to be sure?
She's officially not late.
On time with Lynn.
Oh, she has notification cycles still. Are you making it to council in the question? Unless that's the one. That's not good.
Yeah, yeah.
We can have a meeting, but we can't pass anything because you don't have votes. You have to have 4 votes to pass.
The mayor can't sub it.
She can
She's
only
only
vote to
tiebreaker.
break a tie, and with 3 you don't
We're
get a
walking in
tie.
now.
Oh, good, okay.
Perfect. We're good. Good to go.
She might be in the car and she was not received.
We have to get used to this, to like getting here early and signing vouchers and stuff.
I'm very lonely. Right? I'm very lonely.
Tara's not gonna be here, but Stephanie's on the way.
Stephanie's coming in.
Okay, good.
Slide over. Tara's not coming.
No, well, I'm good. This is my seat.
You wanna give me your vouchers, I'll sign. There she is.
Sorry. Yes, we were close there.
It's a two-edged sword, Stephanie.
Every vote counts.
Stranger? How you doing?
Is it 7 o'clock?
Yes.
My first one back.
All right, then, let's get started. This meeting is called to order in accordance with the Public Meetings Act. Annual notice of this meeting was provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Highland Park Planet on January 5th, 2022, and was posted on the Borough website at www.hptv15.com and on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, 221 South Fifth Avenue, Highland Park, New Jersey, and has remained continuously posted as required by law. Fire exits are to my left and to my right of the council chambers. Please speak into the microphone if you come up to comment. As mayor, I preside over this council meeting and may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement or participation in the meeting if the participant's statement does not adhere to the 3 minutes provided to each participant for public comment, or if the statement is disruptive to the orderly conduct of this public meeting, is repetitive, or not on a topic that is relevant to the borough governing body. Deborah, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Brillmittler,
Here.
Councilwoman Canavera, Councilwoman Foster, Councilman George,
Here.
Councilman Hale,
Here.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Here.
Councilwoman Kim Chohan,
Here.
Borough Attorney Schmier,
Here.
Borough Administrator Hover.
Here.
Okay, council members, do you have any questions on the agenda? I see none. Moving on to honors, awards, and presentations. As you may recall, the redevelopment plan for our downtown includes projects on lots A, B, C, and D. Tonight, we are joined by Deborah Tantliff, who will present a brief summary of the plans for Tract A, which is the redevelopment team's recommendation. We will take any public comment on this during the first or second public comment session of this meeting. Deborah?
Good evening, everyone. It's great to be back here. It's great to be back here in person. It's been a while. So if I may, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and my firm. My name is Deb Tantliff. My company is Tantum Real Estate. We are a certified women business enterprise development and advisory firm. The office is based in Jersey City. We focus really solely on ground up residential and mixed use in New Jersey throughout the state, with an emphasis on downtown redevelopment, mixed use redevelopment, and transit oriented development. Prior to the formation of my company, which is about 8 years old, I was an executive at Roseland Property Company, which has since been acquired and morphed by a public REIT. In my tenure at Roseland, I was there for over 12 years. I started on the construction side of the industry, resigned as a vice president with over 6,000 units of housing built, as well as a couple 100,000 square feet of retail. As a state officer for the New Jersey Builders Association, I pride myself on really having a good handle on the housing issues that we as a state suffer from and benefit from, and therefore like to pride myself on being able to be a little bit more forward thinking about some of the trends that we're seeing both in the market from the consumer as well as on the financial side of the industry. We're currently working in a number of downtowns. We have a project down in Belmar. We're we just recently broke ground on a project in Millburn. We are working on the second phase of a project in Union with Fidelco, who is the joint venture partner for the proposed Tract A. We recently completed a gorgeous boutique little project in downtown Red Bank, and a project that is most near and dear to me, an affordable housing project for veterans in Jersey City. And so, as I mentioned, we really focus on ground up multifamily and mixed use, and specialize really in that downtown vibrancy of what New Jersey downtowns need. And I'm also just an active industry member. As I mentioned, the Builders Association. I'm on the executive committee at the Center for Real Estate at Rutgers. So we're actively involved in educating and exposing the next generation to real estate. And then I pride myself on being a community member. I come into a town and I try to really stay in that town and engage in that town. But importantly, I spend a lot of time on charitable endeavors as well, because I think that is an all-encompassing representation of how you give back to your community. And so I'd like to think that some of the charitable endeavors, I'm active in the Simon Wiesenthal Center as an example. All of that I think speaks to how I look at a community, right, and what the needs of the community are. It's not just about housing; it's about lifestyle, it's about living, and in partnership with Fidelco. The team at Fidelco has a very similar mindset. Fidelco is one of the most recognized developers in the state as well. They tend to focus more on industrial and office. They have a number of iconic offices in Newark, most notably where the Rutgers Business School is and Audible is located. Mark Burson, the chairman of Fidelco, is also a very active community member. He sits on the board of NJ PAC. Up until a few months ago, he was the chairman of the board at RWJ Barnabas. Now still sits on the board, just no longer chairman. And so as a team, we look to invest in communities that we believe the investment far extends beyond the confines of the four walls of whatever we're building. We want to come into a community and be part of something great that we can contribute to. But most importantly, we look to work in communities where we can work together. And so what's exciting for me to be back here, I haven't been back in this room, I think it's 6 or 7 years. We tried to work together on this endeavor a number of years ago. And, for all of the efforts that we collectively put in, the timing just wasn't right. The market wasn't there, the timing for the properties wasn't there. But the collaboration that existed between us was such a telling sign of the ability to really work in partnership with this community. And the steps that you guys have taken since then are very telling of the cohesive vision that this community has, right? And all of the work that you have done as a borough to ensure that the timing is right now speaks to your commitment and your willingness to engage with the private sector to help execute that vision. So we're not confused. We have a long road ahead of us. We have a lot of work to do. But I really look forward to doing the work together and getting your input and your feedback and making this a collective vision that we are almost your conduit to execute that vision. We'd like to put our fingerprints on it, but we are here to do this in tandem with you and the community, and be here with you in the community. And when this redevelopment is done, drive by and point to that and go, we helped make that happen. And we helped bring that foot traffic onto the street, and we helped increase the quality of life for the community at large. It's not just about what happens in our apartments or in our retail. For us, success is when the businesses down the block also do well and benefit from everything that we have helped bring to the community. So I'm really excited to be back here, and more importantly, I'm really excited to dig in and work with you guys on this, and we're ready to get to work.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And Terry, in your capacity as redevelopment director, did you want to add anything to this?
No, I think Deb did a great job. I think the committee, which is yourself, Mayor, myself, Councilman Hale, as well as our legal and planning team, when we interviewed all the candidates who were interested in this location, while there were a lot of strengths to a lot of the proposals, the history with Deb and her firm, and kind of knowing that we share that kind of similar vision, as well as some of the relationships she has in place already with some of the property owners. These are all factors that played into why we made the recommendation. And I just wanted to clarify, just for the record, that what we hope to do today is on the agenda is a resolution to name Deb and Tans and Fidelco as the conditional redevelopers for the site, which would authorize also a redeveloper agreement and give us some time and some money to really dig in and do the work, similar to what we've already done with Tract C previously. So we share all the same enthusiasm for getting to work, and hopefully we will get to that resolution and vote in favor and be off to the races.
Right, and would you define what Tract A is, please?
Sure. If you're familiar with A, B, C, and D, A is the portion that starts at 101 Raritan, which is formerly the Bergen Auto, which is now currently occupied by a boat building outfit, the Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership, and encompasses the parcels through the former gun and boat property, which now Interfaith Rise is running temporary refugee relocation support services. Properties we've since purchased since those many years. So it's that portion on the north side of town on Raritan Avenue. And so in a much needed kind of activity desert, for lack of a better term.
And the entranceway into...
It's really our gateway to our community coming in from the New Brunswick side. It's very important.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I just add a couple things?
Certainly.
I just wanted to highlight a couple things, and I wrote these down just as Deb was speaking, because it really speaks to why I think that we're so excited to work. Collaborative, conduit, collaboration, together, partners, community members, working on our state and local issues, our state and local housing, not my state and local housing. Forward thinking, working together, talked about affordable housing, ground up, and we have a long road ahead, right? So all of those things taken together really just sort of encapsulate. And I just wanted to highlight those as I was writing them down, of how excited we are to work with you, and for all of those reasons, all of those words that you said, I just encapsulated, and I think that really speaks to why we think you're a great fit for Highland Park.
Thank you. And Council President, do you want to add something?
Just very briefly, it's a pleasure to see you again. I know we spent many a meeting when we had our separate redevelopment agency actually going over this project in its infancy back in the day, as you said, with different conditions. But I'm hearing, as Councilman Hale has said, the same words, but we got to see them there in how you were trying. And what we bring now is we have skin in the game, that so the conditions are significantly different, and that was because in part when we were redoing our redevelopment plan and re-looking at what we really wanted Highland Park to be, some of the messages that we got from you and some other redevelopers back in those days, we took to heart. And it's the experience and your generosity and actually bringing your professionals here to say, this is what's going on, and you did not hesitate to do that. We all learned a lot from that. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, sir. From Fidelco?
No, I'm playing for Joe Baldwin tonight.
Oh, okay.
We just happen to have sit next to him.
You've only seen me on Zoom.
Yeah.
Right.
Nick's drafting man in Scotland about.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. And Deborah, I just want to echo what was said. You've stuck with us over all these years, and all of the morphing of our redevelopment plans, and I'm delighted to see you're still sticking with us, and I look forward to seeing the product that you can produce for us.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to move into council reports at this time. And so I am going to start on my far left. Councilman Hirsch.
I am on the far left. Sorry, I had to say that. I've never sat over here. This is great. This is our second meeting in person. Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Hirsch. I chair the borough's Arts and Recreation Committee, and it is good to be back here in person. Welcome, Councilman Hale. This is the first time being up on the dais. It's very exciting, and I'm sorry if those at home are not sharing the excitement. It is palpable in the room tonight, though. Just very quickly, last week, several of us, Councilwoman Kim Chohan, Councilwoman Foster, and I spent, and Borough Administrator Hover, spent time at the League of Municipalities conference, and it was a really rewarding experience for us to attend workshops that help refine being public officials and to learn secrets and tools that are available to municipalities like Highland Park, as well as to interface with our state elected officials, which is also a really powerful component of the conference, and to learn from other towns. So it was a real honor, and there were some details from that, and I'll get to one of them. But I just wanted to acknowledge the New Jersey State League of Municipalities and Mayor Brill Mittler, who is the third vice chair. Thank you for always hosting an excellent event. I'm going to start with recreation. We are hiring part-time referees, scorekeepers, and sports clinic helpers for our winter and spring sports programs. You can apply now at www.hpboro.com. More programming in rec. 2 great programs with longtime collaborator Fresh Theater Arts are now open for registration. The Fresh Theater Arts Spring 2023 production of Peter Pan Jr. for 2nd through 8th graders is open for registration, and an all-new Jumping Jelly Beans Creative Movement adult-child classes for toddlers and preschoolers ages 2 through 5. Also, registration is open for our indoor winter soccer clinics with the legendary Spencer Rockman, who trained me when I got my F license to coach travel soccer without knowing anything about soccer. And the Professional Rovers coaching staff are back. Please register for clinic at highlandparkrec.com. The Arts Commission is always very, very active, and the Arts Commission has a subgroup called the HP Guerrilla Art Club, led by Arts Commissioner Nikki Gonzalez. You do not have to be an official member of the Guerrilla Arts Club to help out with their next act of guerrilla art around town. Basically what this program does is that it promotes kind of pop-up art. The commission facilitates pop-up art with the schools, was responsible for maybe some of you saw the new mural at Bartle, and so forth. So this is a holiday theme where we're bringing some winter cheer to sad little bare trees and tiny bushes around town. If you have any shrubs on your lawn, and you can know a spot where that could use some cheer, you can get a decoration kit. If you send an email to highlandparkgac@gmail.com. That's highlandparkgac@gmail.com. The artists of the HP Guerrilla Art Club helped paint the final piece of our Bartle School mural, which I just mentioned, and it features plants and animals from the sea that are threatened or endangered. My son helped work on it. He's a 2nd grader, and it's a really great project. Please check it out. And many, many thanks to the entire Arts Commission, but also to Commissioner Sonia Elefant, our lead mural artist, without whom none of this would have been possible. Let's see. Sorry. More on the parks, just news from the aforementioned League of Municipalities conference. This week, the New Jersey Society of Municipal Engineers awarded Highland Park and the borough's engineering firm, CME, first place in the category of municipal construction projects by the New Jersey Society of Municipal Engineers. With this and the completion of the Donaldson Park playground reconstruction, Highland Park is committed to working with our partners to address public space throughout town. And as a community, it's wonderful to be recognized for this efforts. Thank you to the New Jersey Society of Municipal Engineers. Here's the track and field. Thank you, Terry, for bringing this in. So this was a difficult project because, first, our track and field is an enormous asset for Highland Park and attracts events that will benefit Highland Park as well. You know, people coming to Highland Park to actually visit and participate in meets and other sporting events. And the track was not able to accommodate a lot of larger scale events previously. And it's also a shared effort between the borough and the Highland Park Public Schools, with the invaluable support of our state government. Thank you to our district representatives, Senator Pat Dagnan, Assemblyman Karabinchak, and Stanley, because without that, we would not have been able to make this investment. So it's really wonderful to be honored. Thank you to Public Works Superintendent Mike Workowitz and Borough Construction Official Scott Brescher and Terry. Thank you so much. It's really an enormous accomplishment, so we're really happy. The blood drive, there was on November 9th, the Recreation Center hosted a blood drive, and congratulations on having it be successful. Thank you to all who donated. We had 62 registered donors, resulting in 44 life-saving donations, and these donations will help save the lives of approximately 132 patients. We are looking to schedule another drive in February in honor of Heart Awareness Month, so stay tuned for more information. I'm getting close, I'm sorry. Finally, I had just such an amazing time with the Highland Park Historical Commission. They organized a tour of Elmwood Cemetery to walk past some burial sites of some famed Highland Parkers. It really was an incredible, chilly, and eye-opening day. We had really great turnout. We had about 20 people come out and attend, and we're going to be doing more of that in the future. And not just observing the dead, but also the living right here in town. Maybe have some more walking tours. But that's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Councilwoman Kim Cho-han, do you have a report?
Yes, just a quick announcement on the Anchor program that I've been talking about and encouraging our residents to apply. The deadline has been extended until January 31st, 2023. This actually replaces the homestead rebate program, and it's a property tax relief program. Also, renters can apply as well. It's $1,500 for homeowners earning $150,000 or less, $1,000 for homeowners earning less than $150,000 or between up to $250,000, and $450 for renters earning $150K or less. And this is for the calendar year 2019. So visit nj.gov/treasury/taxation/anchor. You can also just Google it as well if you wasn't able to write that down. So again, the deadline to apply is January 31st, 2023. Please apply. And that's my report. Have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you. Councilman Hale, do you have a report?
I do, and I just want to start by echoing the excitement I feel to actually sit in this chair after 2 years. This is my first time back. I was in Israel for a family trip and doing some research on Israeli elections for my day job, so I was not able to be here last time. So it really is different being here. So I just wanted to recognize that it is great to be back in this room. Again, if my colleague is to the far left, I want everybody to know that we are not on the far right over here. We're very clearly not on the far right of that. So I just want to make sure that's clear. So I had the opportunity to be a coach for rec soccer this year. So the field that the kids were able to use used firsthand, and it definitely deserves the award. So thank you to everybody who who did that. There were a lot less bloody knees and skinned knees, a couple, but not as many as there used to be, and that's a great place for the track. So thank you for that. Okay, so just a couple updates. The Neighborhood Preservation Project is moving full steam ahead. And I wanted to thank Terry for sort of filling in as our lead. Emma has been away on maternity leave. She's coming back. But there's lots of really exciting things that are happening. We're ordering furniture that will be up there. We're going to have festival lights that will be similar to the ones that are down in the regular Raritan. They'll be up on Woodbridge Avenue. We've been able to expand a lot of the activities that are going up on Woodbridge Avenue. So a lot more to come in year 2 of the program, but I think we've kicked it off, and there'll be a lot of really exciting things happening up on Woodbridge Avenue with the NPP, including awning stuff, including potential grants for business owners to help in that. So stay tuned for that. The NPP has also funded some murals on Benner Street that are up and ready to go in front of the Teen Center and elsewhere. Very creative murals. I wanted to thank John Marin of the Arts Commission for his help in finding muralists for street right on the corners in a bunch of different places. Adds a nice touch up into the area. Okay, so then in addition to that, I know that the mayor is going to talk a little bit about some things with Main Street, but I'll just kick off. This is just what's going on over Thanksgiving weekend. There is a Black Friday farmers market this Friday from 11 to 4:30. On Saturday, there's a small business artisan craft market. That's on Saturday from 4 to 8. Saturday night, there's the downtown tree lighting. That goes Saturday night from 7 to 8. With a very special guest. Santa will be joining us. He looks a lot like the man sitting 2 over from me, so that you might just see him. But Santa will be joining us. Very excited. Saturday is also a gingerbread house contest. That's from Saturday at 4 to 8. So if you can make a gingerbread house, I'm really good at eating them. So if you can make them, that would be really, really good. And then Sunday, a small business artisan craft market. Again, Sunday 1 to 5. So small business deals and promotions all weekend over this Thanksgiving weekend. So please get out and support our businesses. Bring your family, show them, walk down to Highland Park and walk into the businesses and make them take something home. So please, everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving, have a wonderful time off and with your family, and that's my report.
Thank you. Okay, Council President, do you have a report?
I do, Mayor. Thank you very much. Just briefly, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving for everyone in the town, but also our condolences and thoughts for the LGBTQ plus community because of the Club Q shooting over the weekend. We certainly continue to support our community, value them just like we value everyone in our community as our biggest asset, which is our residents. With regard to the Sustainable Highland Park, on Sunday they co-joined with Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership to do a very large cleanup of the Donaldson Park and Meadows Trail floodplain areas. There was a cooperative effort instigated by Sustainable Highland Park and Mark Lesko, the volunteer who coordinates it, and they were able to join with Lower Raritan to combine their cleanup and actually combine them both on Sunday. And they did quite a lot of work and removed quite a lot from the floodplain area, and also did maintenance under supervision of the Meadows Trail as well. In addition, Sustainable Highland Park is continuing their Adopt a Drain program. They're reviewing the success and expansion for the coming year. The Adopt a Drain program was one of the programs that received an award at the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commission meeting, so Sustainable Highland Park has followed up with that. I attended the Library Board of Trustees meeting this past week. The library is actually engaged in a strategic plan for the coming years and developing a new set of guidelines under new management In addition, they've got a draft of the budget already to start review. We're still waiting on some of the funding. We did get the second round state grant, which is a matching grant with borough funds. That is slow to administer, in part because of the pandemic, and in part because it's also backed by federal funds. So there's a lot of cooperation, a lot of coordination going on, but that is in the works as well. DPW report. Again, we continue our format. I won't go through the entire report, but Assistant Superintendent Frank Troy prepared it in the absence of Superintendent Wazirkowitz this week. Staffing, we're still at 16 members. That's 128 man-hours daily. There was only one holiday in October. That gives 20 working days for 16 employees, or 320 working days available. I think that's important to know how we have to spread our DPW amongst the many tasks they do. Out of that 320 days, we had 47 days missed between vacations, sick time, personal time. Actually, very few workers' compensation days, which means the safety training through the GIFT is really taking hold. And sanitation, this month we had 329 tons collected. On the south side, it was 144. On the north side triangle was 185. The year-to-date through October 31st was 1,574 tons. Recycling, 88 tons of recycling was collected in October, 37 on the south side, 50 on the north side. The recycling prices, which is what we are now tracking in our monthly reports. Cardboard is up $35 a ton in September, but down 5 a ton in October and down 10 a ton in October. That affects our bottom line to some extent, but it doesn't mean we're going to be reconsidering limiting that. In bulk trash, this month we didn't have many collections. There was only 12 tons of bulk trash. Street sweeping, we had 11 days of service, 292 miles, and on all the rest, we had work orders from individual residents. 19 submitted, 17 were completed, 2 are long-term, so they're still open. So I really think that the planning that between our administrator, the Public Works Committee, and DPW in preparing these regular reports is really significant. We're going to be able to look back in a couple of months and start doing some serious comparison work, which is going to allow us to start reassessing and reallocating work. It really is, it's one of the better items to see in reporting that I've seen in a long time. It's very thorough. It's 5 or 6 pages in a format that we developed, and it really is excellent. Finally, we are having the, just to mention again, as Councilman Hale intimated, I happen to be sitting here on the right of center, which does not represent my particular position, as Councilman Hirsch knows very well, more than anyone. But
join us.
I have to anchor a certain person here and act as the front man act, you know. So, but I just wanted to say that we're also doing menorah lighting will be coming up as well, which I attend and participate in the singing as well. However, the fire department, which is, as anyone who's been alive in New Jersey since the 50s knows, it's always the fire department that presents Santa because he gets to ride on the truck, which is really cool. But last year they asked me to step in to fill in, and I was kind of hesitant in saying, you know, the faces of the little children, and there were hundreds and hundreds just mobbed Santa as I got off the truck, was, I have to tell you, the warm feeling I got is something I have not felt in a while since my kids were little. It was so touching that I called them and said, absolutely again, absolutely. So I look forward to seeing everybody. In addition, I invite you to make the same promise my family did. We, number of years ago, as the kids grew, we gave up the big gaudy Christmas presents a long, long time ago. However, now we only buy at the pop-up market in Highland Park. That's our project. And I invite you all to do that. There's great stuff there. Thank you.
Thank you. Borough Administrator, do you have a report?
No, just not much of a report, but I just wanted to wish everybody a great Thanksgiving holiday and also remind everybody that we are closed Thursday and Friday of this week. And so just didn't want anybody to be surprised to come down to Borough Hall and find us closed. And there is no recycling pickup this week, so South Side will be getting garbage picked up tomorrow. So just get your toters out there.
Thank you. Borough Attorney, do you have a report?
Madam Mayor, I do have a report this evening. In May of this year, several Highland Park residents filed a lawsuit against the borough and the mayor and council, both individually and in their official capacity, involving the cannabis ordinance. The complaint was an effort to block the borough from opting into the state legal cannabis legislation known as the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Enforcement Assistance and Marketplace Modernization Act. Otherwise, we call it CREMA. That's the an acronym. And it also challenged that state law itself. In June, the borough, after reviewing the complaint, filed a motion to dismiss this complaint on the grounds that it was not a timely filed complaint under the rules of court. They were challenging an ordinance way too late. And also that the various counts in the complaint failed to state a claim that could be awarded under New Jersey law. And on July 22nd, there were lengthy arguments made before the court concerning this motion to dismiss this lawsuit. And finally, the court, who took that under advisement, this past Friday delivered an oral opinion on the record setting forth the court's determination. And I'm pleased to report that the court dismissed the entirety of the plaintiff's complaint. They dismissed it with prejudice, which means that the complaint cannot be filed again, and also denied the plaintiff an opportunity to amend that complaint. In the thorough opinion of the court determined that the plaintiff's challenge was untimely under the court rules, but further went through each of the claims that were set forth in the voluminous complaint and made findings that there was no issue that could be raised under New Jersey law involving the claim, for example, of racketeering, which appeared in there. There was also a claim for the conspiracy among members of the council and others in putting together the ordinance which followed the state law, and a series of other similar claims that the court specifically reviewed and specifically rejected. So accordingly, the challenge that was filed against the borough challenging the entire cannabis ordinance has been dismissed, and the court judgment is final. After the holidays, after the several days next week, the judge will issue what is known as a written opinion and attach to the court order dismissing this lawsuit her findings, which she put on the record for an hour and a half, her findings as to why the entire complaint should be dismissed. The other side will have an opportunity to ask the court to reconsider, and of course they have the ability to appeal, but we don't believe any of those activities will be successful. And Madam Mayor, that's my report.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll segue into my report. There's been a lot of talk about the farmers market, and forgive me, but I was prepared to discuss it some more. Highland Park's farmers market is flourishing. Main Street Highland Park holds the market over 9 months each year. The farmers market has been a Friday staple in our community for over 2 decades. Today, our market has 55 total rotating vendors, up from approximately 25 7 years ago. And our market averages 30 to 40 vendors each week, up from approximately 15 to 18 each week 7 years ago. The market provides space for small business incubation and offers free spaces to any Highland Park-based business and municipal organization or office, such as the Highland Park Public Library, Recreation Department, etc. Additionally, the increased foot traffic in our downtown during each market benefits all our brick-and-mortar retailers and restaurants. New customers and regular customers alike can be seen eyeing store windows and sporting our retailer shopping bags filled with gifts, foods, florals, along with their produce bags, as well as dining at one of our many unique ethnic restaurants. The farmers market also plays a role in feeding our community, including the food insecure members of our community. Many market vendors accept federally funded WIC vouchers. The entire market accepts HP food pantry vouchers and St. Peter's University hospital vouchers. They are also exploring accepting vouchers from other local food pantry programs to further their accessibility to the food insecure members of our community. The farmers market became a SNAP authorized location last year. SNAP usage has almost doubled since last year. The Good Food Bucks program has also seen twice the usage this year. This grant-funded program allows our market to double every SNAP dollar brought into the market with a good food buck that can be spent at our produce vendors. This is made possible by grants we receive from USDA's City Green program and the Good Food Buck Network. Overall, almost $20,000 of food has been subsidized this year at the farmers market in 2022. This is far and away more than any other year. Thank you to Rebecca and Javier and the Main Street Highland Park Board for all your many efforts that have contributed to this remarkable growth of the farmers market and its exemplary sense of mission. Last month, I was pleased to join Highland Park's Public School Superintendent, Dr. Christina Nicosia, New Jersey Assemblyman Sterling Stanley, and others in celebrating the reopening of the $2 million renovation of the recreation complex behind the middle school and high school. This complex serves not only our school athletics programs, but all of our community members. I'm happy to point out that we are not the only ones to recognize the fine quality of the new recreation complex. Thank you. The fine quality of our new recreation. Earlier this month, at the annual convention of the New Jersey League of Municipalities, as Councilman Hirsch mentioned, in Atlantic City, the New Jersey Society of Municipal Engineers presented a first place award to the borough's engineering firm, CME Associates, for the work on the project. Congratulations to CME. I'm happy to conclude my report with more of a success story. As Dr. Nicosia wrote in a recent Facebook post, we were delighted to read the news story in the Star-Ledger that reported that a popular, decades-old mental health counseling program will continue to operate in 90 New Jersey school districts, at least temporarily, under a compromise that will allow Governor Phil Murphy's administration to move forward with a separate plan to create a statewide network of treatment services off campus. This is in no small part due to our joint efforts and the support of Senator Deignan. As you may recall, New Jersey had announced plans to close the well-regarded Community Teen Center in the Highland Park High School Middle School to shift funds to a regional model. I joined with Dr. Nicosia and State Senator Patrick Deignan in opposing the decision. The senator and I visited the Community Teen Center a few weeks ago to hear testimonials from students, teachers, parents, and alumni on the far-reaching impacts of the Community Teen Center. We, too, are delighted to hear of this temporary respite for the Teen Center and will continue to push for its assured presence in our schools. I want to thank everybody for all of the volunteerism over this last year. You are something that I am thankful for this Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all. All right. We're up to our first public participation. Total time allotted is 21 minutes, 3 minutes maximum per speaker. Comments on any topic on or off the agenda are welcome at this time. The borough clerk will monitor the time and indicate when 3 minutes has lapsed. She will give you a warning when there is 30 seconds remaining. There will be a hard stop at the 3-minute mark to make sure everyone has a chance to speak. As a reminder, I may warn or terminate a participant statement if it does not adhere to the 3 minutes provided, or if the statement is disruptive to the orderly conduct of this public meeting, is repetitive, or not on topic that is relevant to the borough's governing body. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Please step up to the microphone.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. Thank you for letting me address you guys. So I've been communicating with Councilmember Hirsch and Mr. George and Mayor as well about the need for recycling toters in town with lids. I know that we had spoken last I heard you were waiting until after the townwide yard sale to begin distribution for the main commercial district in town. I was just wondering when we could expect that to begin.
I can give you a partial update on that. Superintendent Wazirkowitz has been unavailable, so I wasn't bothering him while he's out. But the last I heard from him is we have the final count, it's 301. We were able to get a better pricing. As I had advised some time ago, the borough administrator had found some funds that were left over from the last round of purchases, which does cover it, and Mike was able to get through the state identified contracts a better deal on it, and indicated that we're saving shipping as well. With him out, we haven't been able to put in the plan for the downtown area, but we do have them identified. So as soon as he returns, we should be able to get the final plans for the rollout on that. And we're going to be using it as a pilot to see how recycling with the toters works. I know there are a number of towns that have had a problem with that. In particular, cardboard is one of the bigger issues, even with the 95-gallon size. But we're hoping that, number one, the commercial district has traditionally generated a lot of the trash downtown, from the recycling aspect in the business district. So we're hoping that this pilot shows us how well it's going to work. So as soon as Mike returns, and hopefully he will be back by the end of next week, we hope to sit down with him and finalize where we'll be going with. I think the rollout will likely be early 2023. By the time, we've lost a little time with him being out. So, but that's what I'm hopeful for. I can't promise that because one of the reasons we're starting to deliver monthly reports of manpower, hours, and tonnage is to be able to track that and make sure that we're able to put that in place. But I did speak with him before he was out and looking at a timeline. So I'm hoping that when he gets back, we'll be able to put that together.
So early 2023, like January, February?
I'm going to be a little conservative on that and say I'm going to reserve until he gets back to run over the plans, because he wasn't able to go over it with the township administrator either. So both of us are just waiting to finalize those. We did finalize the purchase. We did, that's all identified. We know the count. We know the price. That end is taken care of. It's just the staffing, the vehicle availability that we were working on, but with him unavailable. We had hoped we were going to be able in December to look at it. It'll be a little bit slower, so I'm going to be conservative about it and say January we should know.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Joseph, thank you for staying on top of this with us.
My pleasure.
Marcia?
Good evening. Do you want me to introduce myself?
Yes, please, your name and address.
It's Marcia Schiffman. I live on 131 North 6th Avenue, Highland Park. Lived there for 40 years plus. I came tonight to hear the presentation on the redevelopment plan for Tract A, which myself and I know a lot of people are very interested in. It was more of an introduction, which was good, to the joint developers. I would ask if the borough can share information on the development team. Deborah had mentioned a number of projects that she has been involved in Belmar, Melbourne, Union, Red Bank, Jersey City, and it would be, at least from my point of view, and I'm sure other person's point of view, interesting to be able to go and research and see those projects. So I would ask that if that information can be provided, and any information that the borough can provide at this time, so that we can be aware of what's going on this project and the other project. I think on Track C that would be really useful. Transparency is very important, and it will help move the project forward with the community, I think. Two other things. I want to thank the mayor for her discussion of Main Street and the activity of Main Street, because having now being on Main Street and having been on the design committee for many, many years, I see how hard Rebecca and Javier have worked and how positive things have been. I want to note that last weekend in the cold, and it was really cold, we greened up the planters on Main Street and some on Woodbridge Avenue, which was a challenge, but I think they look really good. And the other thing is Rebecca and Javier have prepared and put online an online application, which we hope will help the merchants in terms of preparing grant applications and make the process easier. So that's something new as well. And my third thing to talk about is Stop and Shop. And I wondered if the borough could give us an update on what's happening in terms of that issue, because it's really important to everybody in the community.
Yes, it is important to all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. So we have been in touch with the property owners. Stop and Shop does not own the property there, they rent it. So, and our borough administrator, who, by the way, for those who are not aware, serves a dual role here in Highland Park. She's also a redevelopment director. And she has been speaking with the owners of the property pretty regularly. Terry, do you want to update everyone on where we are now?
Sure. We're essentially proceeding on two tracks. One, the Borough Council has authorized an area need, well, has recommended to the planning board to do an investigation of the Stop and Shop and adjacent properties as a potential area in need of redevelopment without condemnation. And Nick will point at me if I get something wrong in this part. But, and we're poised to have that study complete very soon, and we'll be presenting, if all goes well, timing-wise at the upcoming planning board meeting in December. And that's a precursor to a redevelopment plan for the site. So we want to secure and incentivize a grocery use there. It's something that the council and the mayor and myself and obviously many members of our community feel very strongly is an important asset, especially as we're pursuing redevelopment downtown. So that way we have basically zoning that incentivize that use. So that's coming, and we're pushing that along as fast as we can. At the same time, and we're also working, the property owners are looking at both options, development and also refilling the spot. Those are kind of the two alternatives. So we're kind of supporting both of those activities, and we've also been working with the county, the Food Council of New Jersey, other resources to try to find a good operator that'll be a really good fit, and to try to work collaboratively with the property owner to find a good match for the site. So we're kind of operating in both worlds, and if a new store comes in, fine, we still have a good redevelopment plan that if something changes down the line, we'll now have kind of a roadmap to how the properties. So it isn't, the mayor said at the top, it's not our property, but we have a good dialogue going with the property owner, and we're working as closely as we can and as quickly as we can, because we know Stop and Shop is not going to extend their lease. So that's a priority.
And in the interim, there probably will be a lapse in time before a new operator moves into that space, or the space is redeveloped and a new supermarket can come to town. Given that, we will be looking into some way to have a relationship with a nearby supermarket, so that we might be able to get our residents who cannot drive. We have quite a number of residents, seniors and others, who walk to the supermarket, Stop and Shop, frequently. So we will be looking into the possibilities of a shuttle service or something that would allow us to have our residents have access to food. Okay. Anybody else from the public? Okay. Then we'll move on to ordinances requiring a second reading. Clerk, could you please report on advertising an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Highland Park concerning motor vehicle parking regulations on River Road and North 6th Avenue for consideration of passage on final reading by title?
An ordinance of the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 7 of the Code of the Borough of Highland Park concerning motor vehicle parking regulations, was duly advertised for consideration of passage on final reading by title, and affidavits of publication are on file. The ordinance was also posted and made available for public inspection as required by law.
May I have a motion to take up the ordinance on final reading by title?
So moved.
Second.
Any public hearing on this? See none. May I have a motion to adopt or reject and advertise the ordinance on final reading by title?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman George,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han.
Yes.
Okay. Now moving on to ordinances requiring a first reading. Clerk, could you please report on introduction of an ordinance establishing a pedestrian mall on South 3rd Avenue at Raritan Avenue for consideration of passage on first reading by title?
An ordinance establishing a pedestrian mall on South 3rd Avenue pursuant to NJSA 40:56-65 in the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex, New Jersey, has been introduced in writing by the Public Safety Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
I just want to note before I ask for a motion that this ordinance was previously adopted by the council on October 19th, 2022. The ordinance requires a special notice. Therefore, it is being reintroduced to ensure that the required notice is provided to the public. So, may I have a motion to adopt or reject and advertise the ordinance on first reading by title?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman George,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han.
Yes.
All right, we're moving on to the consent agenda items. May I have a motion to adopt or reject items 14A through 14J?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman George,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han.
Yes. Abstain 14C.
Okay. Moving on to the resolution that requires a separate reading. 15A, a resolution designating Tantum Fidelco Highland Park LLC as the conditional developer for property identified as Tract A in 2021 Downtown Redevelopment Plan, and authorizing an interim cost and conditional designation agreement. May I have a motion to adopt or reject?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman George,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Enthusiastically, yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han.
Yes.
Resolution to approve our budget transfers. May I have a motion to adopt or reject?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman George,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han.
Yes.
Okay, we're moving on to our second public participation session. Each speaker has 3 minutes, but may comment on any topic. The borough clerk will monitor the time and will offer a 30-second warning and then indicate when 3 minutes has lapsed. The session will wrap up by 9 p.m. The borough clerk will monitor the time and, she will monitor the time and give you a 3-minute warning, a 30-second warning. There will be a hard stop at the 3-minute mark to make sure everyone has time to speak. As a reminder, I may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement if it does not adhere to the 3 minutes provided, or if the statement is disruptive to the orderly conduct of this public meeting, is repetitive, or not on a topic that is relevant to the borough's governing body. Okay? Is there anyone who would like to speak? Okay, then we'll move on. Does anyone on council require a 5-minute recess?
No.
No, Mayor.
Okay. Then we'll move right into our work session. There is no formal action taken during a work session. The one item on our work session tonight is rent control, and that's Terry. Do you want to bring us up to speed on that?
Sure thing, Mayor. Thank you. Essentially, I just wanted to use this as an opportunity for a status report. I've had several inquiries from members of council, and I know also members of the public have been inquiring what the status is. I received a revised draft of the ordinance from Ed's office this week. I've been going through it. I need to have Scott Brescher, our code enforcement director, go through it with me. We have some comments, but I can tell you from my first pass, I think we're really close, and we should be prepared to finalize a draft and be able to share it with the admin committee next week, and with the intention of pursuing introduction at the December 6th meeting. Essentially, we're following most of what we discussed at our last work session, and we're trying to iron out a few of the areas which can be done administratively versus with the rent control board. I think that's the area that Ed and I want to spend a little more time working on, but essentially, what we discussed at the last meeting, we think we're pretty close to being able to implement with this updated ordinance, and we're going to work really hard to get it introduced by December 6th with the mayor and council's consent, because it would be nice to have this done for the end of the year. As you know, we can't straddle calendar years with ordinances. So, so I think we're really close, and we hope to have a draft that we can send more generally next week.
Right, council member, Borough Attorney, did you want to add to that?
If I could just comment, Madam Mayor, the last issue that Terry and I were discussing today, and is the issue which we really have to resolve before we finish this, and we will, is whether or not you can drop the impact or the coverage of the rent control ordinance down to every rental in the borough. And from our work sessions earlier, Terry and I have that request from you to say we're not exempting owner-occupied properties, which might have another unit. We're not exempting, right now we exempt, 2 or less, and you don't have to be registered. You're not subject to it. The interesting thing is there is no statewide rent control legislation. I mean, normally you would go and see what the state globally would permit, and then you would have your ordinance do it accordingly. And every ordinance we've looked at, starting from the core out, Metuchen, New Brunswick, Piscataway, and so on, none of them go down to every rental unit in the town. So we want to make sure that we have the ability to do that, and to make sure that we're not violating some common law principle or something else which says that you have to allow maybe owner-occupied properties with 1 unit, and maybe they have to be exempt from your ordinance, or maybe not. That's really the last question that Terry and I were talking about today, and we'll answer that question. But that's really a key, because I think the council really wanted to make sure that every tenant in this municipality was protected by the ordinance, and we're trying to make sure that there's no challenge to that. So we'll figure it out, but that's really the last key issue.
So what you're saying is that Highland Park is once again leading the state of New Jersey in finding innovative legislation to help people?
It sure looks that way.
Okay, just want to make sure that was part of that.
Good.
So we'll let you know.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other council members have any questions regarding the rent control topic?
No, it's just that thank you for, I thank the council and mayor and admin team, as you say, Terry, for taking this issue seriously. Councilman Hale and I were in early communications with, before I ramble on too much, I think my point is that if you're experiencing pressure from your landlord to either raise your rent to unreasonable rates, or you're being withheld from re-signing a lease month to month, please reach out to any one of us, and we can help direct you. We can help direct you to resources, and maybe just even answer some questions, because it is happening borough-wide, statewide, everywhere, and it's important to have these guardrails in place.
Thank you. Okay, so may I have a motion to go into exec session to discuss litigation with Pell versus Highland Park?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman George,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han.
Yes.
Okay, good night, everyone. We're going to adjourn to executive session.
Good night, everyone.